Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Evan Witt Show. I am Evan Witt, and it's been a while since I've come to you, but I'm coming to you about a week removed from the NFL Draft, and I just want to give my thoughts quickly on the Green Bay Packers 2018 NFL Draft class. Before I do go into that, I just want to let you all know that the Evan Witt Show is brought to you by the Sports Nutrition Standard in Kenosha, vitamin and supplement store in Kenosha, Wisconsin. They got top-of-the-line product, top-of-the-line customer care, and affordable prices. They are located at 7535 22nd Avenue in Kenosha, and they're open Monday through Friday from 12 to 8, and Saturdays from 10 to 4. Stop by the Sports Nutrition Standard for your nutritional supplements to help you reach the peak of your performance in the gym. And tell them that the Evan Witt Show had sent you. So with that, the 2018 NFL Draft is in the books. The Packers made some new additions to their roster, and a number of them I would like to discuss with you all. The Packers came into the draft with some questions and some holes they had to fill. Secondary, they needed to improve there quite a bit. They needed to improve on the edge a little bit. They needed to improve the front seven. They needed to improve the offensive line, and I felt they needed to get a little better at the wide receiver position. They did that. They also got better in the special teams area as well. Really, the only area they didn't address too much was the edge position. They drafted in the 7th round an edge rusher, which I think has a ton of potential to do something in Green Bay. Maybe not this year, but next year. And I think that might be somebody with Clay Matthews coming off the books at the completion of the 2018 season. He could potentially, they might have drafted him to potentially replace Matthews on the roster if they choose not to re-sign him. I know that'll be a big jump from 7th round pick to replacing a future Packer Hall of Famer. But now I'm going to quickly go down each Packer pick, my thoughts, my opinions on each one. First round, the Packers had the 14th pick in the first round. They ended up trading back to the 27th pick in the NFL Draft, and I was at a draft party for 105.7 The Fan with Bill Michaels and Gary Ellison. I was in attendance there with a friend of mine from work, and myself included, we all were not very happy when the Packers initially traded back. But then I got to thinking about it a little bit, and, let's see what the Packers do first. Let's see how the board falls to Green Bay. The 18th selection comes on the clock. The Packers jump up from the 27th pick to the 18th pick, and they address the back half of their defense by taking Jaire Alexander, cornerback from Louisville. He is about 5'11", 5'10", 5'11", and he's a guy that can probably step into the slot position immediately to help on the defense. Something that the Packers do need a lot of help with. He can play the outside, but I think this year especially he'll probably be more in the slot a little bit. The Packers with that trade with the Saints where they'd front from 14th to 27th, they did get a first-round pick in next year's draft as well. And next year's draft, the front seven guys, there's a lot deeper pool there. I think Mel Kiper, I listened to Mel Kiper Jr. today. I'm not a huge fan of his, but overall. But anyway, listening to his show today, and he's saying that 7 of his top 10 on his big board for the 2019 draft are defensive linemen. So my guess is they're going to probably address the front 7 edge rusher position in the first round next year with 2 picks. Alexander, good value there. Good athlete. He ball hawk, can get his hands on the ball. Played with some injuries last year. Missed a number of games. I believe he only played in 6 games. But he's a guy that's fast. 4.38, set 42nd at the combine. He's competitive, and he's going to do what he needs to do to get the job done. Overall, I like the pick. In the second round, the Packers were not done in the defensive backfield, and they took Josh Jackson at number 45 overall from Iowa. Jackson, better known for 2 games in a row intercepting 5 passes combined, 3 against Ohio State, 2 against Wisconsin, both of which he took to the end zone for pick sixes to score all of Iowa's 14 points against Wisconsin. Jackson's a guy that didn't run very fast at the NFL Combine, but he's a guy that's got long arms, good athleticism, and I'm not overly worried about his slow 40 time. For corners, I'm more worried about their short, how quickly they can turn the hips, how quickly they can turn around, their agility, and I think Jackson does pretty well with those. He can, I think, play safety in the NFL too, but I think he'll be outside corner opposite Kevin King, probably right behind Tramon Williams on the depth chart early on before probably pushing him for some playing time. I like the Jackson pick. I like where they picked him. If they would have drafted him at 14 overall, I would not have liked to pick as much, but I like getting him in the second round. Brings a lot of value, and they got a lot of athletes in the secondary, and King, Jackson, and Alexander, and they got veteran leadership in Tramon Williams, and also with Devon House. So Packers got a lot of options. It goes from a strong weakness for the team to now it's not as big of a question mark anymore. It's just a matter of how the young people develop during the offseason, the rookies, and then King going from year 1 to year 2, Josh Jackson going from year 1 to year 2, and can Clinton Dix bounce back from a subpar 2017 season, and he'll even admit himself that he was not happy about it. The Packers made another trade. They gave up their third-round pick to the Seahawks when they traded up in the first round up to 18. The Packers traded 2 fourth-round picks, number 101 and 147 overall, to jump up to number 88 in the third round. And at that pick, they selected Orland Burke'S, linebacker from Vanderbilt. He is a athlete. He played his safety his first 2 years at Vanderbilt, played a hybrid safety position as a junior, and then exclusively an inside linebacker as a senior. He's a guy that can cover the tight ends, cover the running backs out of the backfield, position that the Packers struggled tremendously last year. He'll ultimately replace Joe Thomas, potentially as that nickel and dime linebacker, and he'll probably could potentially take playing time away from Jake Ryan. Excuse me. Really good coverage guy. He'll play inside linebacker for the Packers, according to Director of Pro Personnel, John Wojciechowski. And I like him. I like what he has to offer to Green Bay. And if you think back to the Carolina Panther game, if it wasn't for Greg Olsen and Christian McCaffrey, the Packers win that game. They contributed for, I would say, I don't have the stats in front of me, but if I recall right, probably about 70-80% of the Panthers' offense they contributed to. And I know it was a touchdown under the backfield to McCaffrey early in the game that he was running wide free. Burke'S is a guy that could match up better on the running backs, and they're going to need to for that. Fourth round, the Packers jumped to the offensive side of the football, drafted wide receiver Jamon Moore from Missouri. I like getting Jamon Moore. They need wide receiver help. They don't really have anything after Adams, Cobb, and Graham. A lot of question marks and unknowns. And with Moore, they get a guy who didn't run very well at the Combine, but ran really well at his pro day. 4.6 at the Combine and 4.49 at his pro day. And I think he's closer to his 4.49. Watching him on film, he's very fast on the football field, can move and change direction well. One of the big issues is the fine-tuning of his routes, and then concentration drops was one of his issues. He's 6'2", nearly 6'3", 207, and he's a guy that can put pressure over the top on the defenses. And he'll push Michael Clark, Kobe Person, Jake Cumrow, Yancey, and Geronimo Allison and Trevor Davis for playing time, and he could potentially be a return guy as well. Packers stuck to the offense in the fifth round at number 138 overall. They took Cole Madison, a lineman from Washington State. And this is your typical Packer pick. They took a guy who played tackle in college, and they're likely going to be moving him inside the guard. T.J. Lang, Josh Sitton, guys that played tackle in college and or high school for Sitton's regard, jumped inside to guard J.C. Treader went from tackle in college to center. That's what the Packers like doing, and Cole Madison will probably push for playing time right away at the right guard position with Lucas Patrick and Justin McCray. And he could even probably fill in at right tackle a little bit while Brian Bulaga and Jason Spriggs and Kyle Murphy get back to health. He does add depth to the offensive line, and he's, like I said, he's a guy that could contribute to a right guard immediately. And if you're a fan of the Josh Sitton, by looks, he reminds me a lot of Josh Sitton. Again, he's not a replacement for Brian Bulaga, but he could potentially fill in the position until Bulaga is able to come back. With number 172 overall in round 5, Packers did kind of make a head-scratcher pick, J.K. Scott Punter from Alabama, and he is an athlete. He is an athlete. Justin Vogel is already off the team. He asked for his release, I guess, the other day. So J.K. Scott's going to get all the opportunity to earn the punter job. I would like the Packers to bring in a veteran punter to help push Scott, because I don't want the job just literally handed to him. But he's a guy that should improve field position and special teams with the way he's able to pin back deep. They then took Marquise Valdez-Scantling. He's a tall wide receiver at 6'4", 206, 4.37 combine. He's a guy that can stretch the field. But he has issues with drops, and his vertical jump is not that great. But he is a guy that will likely contribute on special teams immediately, replacing Jeff Janis as a gunner on punts. I like the Scantling pick, and he should push for playing time early as well. And then a guy the Packers drafted in the 6th round, number 207 overall, a guy that has all the talent in the world, but can be a head case, is Equimarius St. Brown from Notre Dame. He is a big receiver, 6'4", ran fast at 4.48. His weight, I believe I heard, is up to about 216. He's a guy that can really put pressure on the defense. And he's a guy that if he's able to learn the nuances of the wide receiver position in the NFL, the routes, the coverage, and the disguising coverages, things like that, he's a guy that can really probably make an impact in year one, along with Moore. St. Brown and Moore are the two that I think could potentially make that impact immediately on offense, where if Scantling makes the team, it's probably going to be initially on special teams first. In the 7th round, the Packers took defensive end James Looney out of California, another athlete, 6'2" and 3/4, 287. He is an athlete. He can run. He's strong. He's powerful. But can he bring that onto the field in Green Bay? Can he put it all together and be a difference maker? He's a guy that's probably going to have a hard time making the team out of training camp, as the Packers are pretty deep at the defensive line position. But he's a guy that if he's able to push, last year's 3rd round pick, Montravius Adams, might be in trouble. So, and then their next pick in the 7th round, they took Hunter Bradley, long snapper. Long snapping has been an issue for Green Bay, with Gould having some injury issues the past couple years, and Tabor Pepper got injured. Derek Hart got cut. Packers long snapping has been a problem, and we'll see if Bradley can win it immediately. He's another athlete. And then finally, they drafted Kendrell Donaldson, linebacker from Southwest Missouri State. He's an athlete again. I'm using that term a lot. 6'2", 248, 12 career sacks in 4 seasons. He can get pressure on the quarterback and really get pressure off the edge. I like his potential. Likely be a practice squad guy early on. So with that, I want to thank you all for listening to the Evan Witt Show, brought to you by Sports Nutrition Standard on 22nd Avenue in Kenosha. Check them out and tell them that the Evan Witt Show sent you. I will talk to you all later. Have a great weekend, everybody.